Well, thank you for letting me have a couple of extra grace minutes this morning. You know, life is unexpected. Sometimes unexpected things happen. Anyway, also, I did have a couple requests yesterday for today, and then another one this morning that we do a little bit of some kind of stretchy nap stuff today, which is a class that for those of you who've been with me all along know that I used to teach at the studio and it was always very popular. So we're going to do a little taste of some of that today. We may not stay completely restorative, but pretty much on that end of the spectrum, which is not a bad thing. Every now and again, well, more so than every now and again, you have to practice what you preach, right? And I'm always on here talking about how you have to take good care of yourself. And so slowing down and doing some restorative work is one of the greatest ways that you can not only relax your body, but more importantly, just take a little time to relax your brain. And if you're not a big fan of meditation or you just haven't gotten into meditating yet, restorative yoga can be kind of your gateway drug. So I highly recommend it. And I'm going to second that emotion today. I don't know if everything's just catching up with me a little bit this week or what, but I'm definitely feeling a little bit worn out, a little bit beat down. So this is just the ticket. I have gathered up some stuff from just around my house, and if you have things like this, great. And if you don't, it's okay too. You can get, pretty creative with just some blankets and pillows. I grabbed a couch cushion to use as a bolster. I found another pillow that's kind of like a smaller bolster version. I've got a blanket. I do have a block, but just another little pillow would work as a substitute for this. And you can do all of these poses without props too, if you'd like. So let's get started. We're going to begin just be in our kind of favorite position on your back, and I'm going to let you pick whatever that might be. My favorite place to start is with a little pillow underneath my knees, and then I like a little something behind my back as well. And today I'm going to go for more than a little something. I'm going to go for kind of a nice big bolstery pillow back there. You could do a stack of pillows if you had. And I'm out in my porch and it's a little bit cool and it feels great, but I'd still like to have just a little blanket on top. So this is where I'm going to begin. You can start wherever you'd like. We're not going to be here forever, but just long enough to do some gentle breathing. So go ahead, get comfortable, lie back. Make sure that your spine and your head are in a good place. And then once you've settled in, close your eyes. And let's start this practice today just letting out a peaceful sigh. So you're going to take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale out your mouth. And if that felt good, do it once or twice more. And on that last exaggerated exhale, just really allow your body to melt in. Don't feel like you have to hold back from anything or hold on to anything here. And you've got these wonderful props to support you, to hold on to you. And to really settle you into this notion that you're okay. You don't need to be anywhere else. You're not missing out on anything. There's nowhere to go. And it's okay to just be right here. And then just direct your focus now over to the sound, the feel, the length and depth of your breath. And from your next inhale, imagine you could pull that breath from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Just see that image in your mind's eye, bringing the breath all the way up the body to the crown of your head, and then you just hold that energy there for a moment. Like you're charging up your brain. And exhale, let it go all the way back down through your body. It's like a little melting waterfall down to your toes. Good. We're going to do that again, but this time, start from your toes and just pull your breath up to your belly button. Feel the difference. Pull your navel in tight to your body and seal that breath in right there for a few moments. Hold it. Feel a little bit of power and heat build, and then exhale from your belly button down to your toes. Again, inhale from the toes, this time to your heart center. All the way up to your chest. Feel your chest rise. Lock that power into your heart. And again, just like you're charging up the muscle that provides you with compassion, wisdom. And exhale from your heart down to your toes. Do it again, all the way to the crown of the head. Big breath in. Slowly draw it up the body. Hold it in the mind. On the exhale, send it back down and just feel the space that you've cleared in your brain. Breath makes it to the bottom of your feet. Start again. Go to your belly button. Engage your bandhas here. Uddiyana bandha behind the navel. Mula bandha below the navel. Feel a little power, pressure, and heat build. And exhale back down to the bottoms of your feet. Last one to your heart. Here we go. Up. Hold. Exhale. Let the breath melt back down. All right, do one more round on your own, and you can go in any order you like. Head, heart, navel, navel, heart, head, mix it up, or stick with that same rotation. Get all three places, 3 long, deep cycles of breath. After your last exhale, you send it down to your toes, and just start Your natural breathing again, in and out freely with no direction, just filling up and emptying out, smooth and steady. Satisfying breaths in and out, and eventually let your eyes flutter open, let your fingers and toes wiggle. Point and flex your feet and roll out your ankles and your wrists. Maybe take your hands up overhead and stretch your whole body out long. Get a little yawn in there. And then you can just drag your feet up the mat a little bit. If you're lying back on some pillows or bolsters, it's okay. We're just going to roll to the side and come off of those things. Stay curled up on your side for a moment. Giving that restful energy a chance to just settle into the body. And then slowly walk your hands up and bring yourself back around to a seat. Hello. Okay. Coming up to just a comfortable seated position here. Again, I would suggest maybe a little pillow or 2 pillows or blocks, whatever you've got, whatever you can wedge in. We're going to put the bottoms of the feet together here. So we just want something that will hold the backs of the thighs or the knees so that your legs don't have to work very hard when you make this Baddha Konasana shape. That's the name of this pose. Baddha means bound and Kona means angle. So this is the angle that is completely bound. It's like the shape of a diamond. Sometimes in the yin tradition, this is called butterfly. All right, and then I'm going to bring this big bolster out front. Anything will work here, and if you don't want anything in front of you, you don't have to have anything in front. And then I might even just, for a little extra comfort, just put the blanket up on the shoulders to stay nice and warm. And it's comforting to have something kind of softly touching your back in this pose. It just sort of reminds you to fold forward, and that's what we're going to do. So you just get a comfortable place. Don't be afraid to keep this really wedged in. This is the best part about restorative yoga, is that it's all about just kind of getting to snuggle with yourself a little bit, which is a super cute notion, number one, but everybody loves a good kind of snuggly place, right? Because it makes you feel safe. And the moment that your body feels safe and supported, the moment that we feel safe and supported just as human beings, our ability to actually let go and open up really does start to come out, because we don't feel like we have to keep our guard up so much, right? And so this is how the process of restorative yoga works as well. Get yourself safe, cozy, and then chances are you'll start to open up a little bit. So the idea, even more than that, is that can you get to the same place in restorative yoga by just simply letting go rather than pushing or forcing something to happen? I'm going to stack my forearms and give my forehead a little somewhere, and I might even, if I have a little extra something, put that up here as well, so that I really don't have to struggle at all. Now I can just keep the spine in this nice rounded shape. Once you've got a good soft stretch in your low back, then try not to work too hard at it. And just let your muscles start to loosen up from your bones and get heavy. Pay attention to the back side of your lungs and let your breath make the entire back side of your body start to rise and fall. And you can always change your mind. After all, I think that block is a little too much for me, so I'm going to let it go. See if I can still get comfortable here. So the number one thing you want to be mindful of in a restorative pose is that it's okay to make adjustments and get your body more comfortable from time to time. But if you find that you're really just kind of fidgeting because you're bored, or because you're mildly uncomfortable with having to slow down your brain, I know that can be tough for some of us, try to resist the urge to move, unless you really do need to make an adjustment for your comfort. But if you just feel like you want to move around every few seconds, chances are that's your brain, not your body. That's just your brain coming up with excuses to run away from being in the present moment. And so you're going to try to train yourself to just stay. Challenge yourself to let it be okay to be still. Let it be okay to be alone with yourself, with your body, right here in this moment. And we're going to stay in this pose for probably about 2 more minutes, so just try to relax. Focus on the breath. Every now and again, just scan through your body and notice where you're still holding on. Are you clenching your teeth? Are you pushing your tongue into the roof of your mouth or the back of your top teeth there? Are you tight in your jaw? Maybe you've got your glutes clenched a little bit. Your shoulders might be up in your ears. Just try to let all of that go. Soften your cheekbones, your eyelids, your forehead. And stay right there for another minute. just begin to rewind your way out of that rounded shape of the spine. And you might even feel like you need to just sit up really tall for a few breaths. It's not uncommon to feel a little achy when you stay in that rounded back shape. So wait for that to pass you by. Good. And then we can remove whatever you've got out here in front for a moment. Same thing, help your knees together if you need to. Get everything out from underneath, and then just stretch those legs out long. Let's shake everything loose for a moment. Slide your hands down your shins. Come forward just far enough to find a comfortable hamstring stretch. All right. We're just going to hold this for about 5 breaths, nothing too dramatic, just to check in with the back side of the body. Three, 2, and 1. All right, roll it up nice and easy. And then you can just swing your legs around behind you. Now we're gonna depart just briefly from restorative stuff here and do a little bit of moving around, not a ton, but come on up to your hands and knees. If you have sensitive knees or you're just all about the extra comfort today, you can put a blanket down underneath the knees there. And let's take some cats and cows just to get the spine moving freely. So whichever way you want to start, you can begin exhaling to round your back, or you can drop your belly and inhale. Wherever you want to begin on the breath cycle, and then rock it back and forth. It's always a rounded spine. That's your cat. As you exhale out and inhale, you drop the belly, tilt the tail. Most of us have done this one once or twice or a few hundred times, right? But there's a reason these simple movements stick around in yoga and they show up often, is because they're effective and they feel good. So it's okay to see them often because they work. Next time you make that rounded cat shape, we're going to tuck the toes and just take a brief down dog. If you don't practice down dog, you can stay right here in tabletop, or you can push back into child's pose for a few breaths. Otherwise, just bring the hips up for a few breaths. Pedal out through the feet. And let your heels swivel back and forth a time or two. Turn your gaze from right to left. Shake any tension out of your neck. Great. And then we're going to set up for either half pigeon or pinwheel from here. So those of you who like a deeper hip stretch, you're probably going to take half pigeon, especially if you don't have any issues with the knees. Take a look forward. I'll let you start with whichever leg you want. And half pigeon people, you're just going to draw. I'm doing my right side, so I'll use that as the example. Right knee up to the base of the right thumb. Take a look down. Your shin's going to swing across your mat there, probably at about a 45-degree angle or so. If I look underneath me, I've got my right ankle bone facing up, and that means my left frontal hip bone is going to come toward that. Like these two bones are magnets, and they want to pull together. This is the deepest version of the stretch, but get some props going. Get a little something underneath this back hip so it is supported. Get a little something out here in front of you so that you can come down and relax and really be in a comfortable pigeon. Even if you've just got only a block around, that's a nice place to rest your forehead, and it's also a nice wedge for either your back hip, or it can go on the left side there underneath that left thigh to help even things out. So pigeons, that's you guys. If you'd rather do pinwheel pose, you're going to start kind of the same way, drawing one knee forward, and then you're going to sit all the way down on that hip. And you're gonna bend your back knee too and just pull that knee up. So from the side, see how this looks a little bit kind of like a pinwheel, right? I always say this reminds me of like, kind of like a cheerleader jump too, or how cheerleaders would sit on the ground. So however the shape resonates with you, and then you can do the same thing with just getting some things stacked up here so that you can stretch straight forward. I know this is a little bit of information. I'm just going to talk it out so that we can relax once we're in. Pinwheels, you can also do this pose kind of to the inside, or you can twist a little bit and do it to the outside. Those are all options for you. If none of that works for you because your knees can't hack it, that's okay. You can do it on your back. And in order to do that, I would say put a pillow down behind you for your head, lie flat on your back, cross one ankle over the opposite thigh, and then you can stay there, or you can bring that bottom foot up off the ground, maybe even lace your arms through your legs and just do the supine version, which is really relaxing, and it might just be a nice treat for today, even if you usually do things the other way. Okay. Your body, your practice, you pick. I'm going to come back up and do this forward pigeon version. Get all the things you need. Get all of your fidgets out of the way here in the beginning so that you can be really comfy. Sink in, settle in. And then we just gonna melt in again. Let your body find its most comfortable place, and then turn your awareness and your focus over to your breath. Bring you back in a couple minutes, but for now there's nowhere else you have to be, nothing else you have to do, just relax here. Every now and again, just check in, make sure you can still feel the rise and fall of breath moving through the back side of your body, or if you're lying on your back, then you feel it on the front side. We've got one more minute on this side of Pigeon, and then we'll switch it out. Okay, anytime you're ready, just take it easy as you come up. If you're on your back, of course, you don't need to come up. You can just untangle your legs, maybe set your feet down for a moment, or give your knees a squeeze. If you're in the upright position and you want to use down dog as a release, you can lift up and press back to down dog for a moment, or you can just kind of swing one leg around and the other one forward on your mat. Make sure you do what feels best to you and set everything up the other way around. Change your lead leg. Pigeon's on your back. You can swing the opposite leg over the top. Readjust. Remember that the two sides of your body are never going to be exactly the same. For most people, that's just not a true statement that everything's going to even itself out. We have different things that happen to us over time, and not everything happens the same exact way, right? So if this side feels a little different than the other side, that's to be expected. That's life. So make different adjustments. If that's the case, you might need more or less support depending on what you feel. And then come on in, and again, we'll just relax. I'm going to try to go right back into giving you some quiet time here. It's sometimes tough not to feel like you need to talk people through things, but when it comes to restorative yoga, having that quiet for your mind is just as important. It's hard to relax when someone's giving you 100 things to think about, right? So wherever you are, it's the right place to be. And now all you have to do is relax and breathe. been a minute or two since you scanned through the body. So every now and again, check in, make sure you're not holding back somewhere, you're not holding on. Try to get a little bit softer. We've got one more minute right here. Okay, slowly bring yourself up. Just take your time. It's like every restorative pose is like waking up from just a little mini nap, right? Even if you don't actually fall all the way asleep, which is actually not the goal. We don't want to check totally out, but it is nice to get to that place where you're kind of in between being fully conscious and aware and also just sort of drifting into a mindless state. It's particularly good for your brain to get into that place every now and again, which does feel an awful lot like meditation. For those of you who do meditate, you can attest to that. Wherever you're at, do your release move from either your forward pigeon, bow tie pose, or pinwheel pose. And then if you're already on your back, you can release and just stay there, because that's where we're going to come through and meet you. We're going to finish with a quick spinal twist and get into Shavasana. So when you're working with restorative postures, it's funny how time flies, right? When you're in these relaxing poses. Again, I'm turning to the side, but you can get yourself comfortable however you'd like to be. Just lower right down onto your back. Last posture here, you may not really need too many props for. It's really just going to be adding a little extra comfort where you need it. I'm keeping my blanket on because I'm a tad bit chilly for some reason, but and then I might use something small, just kind of right here. Just a little pillow will work, so that when you drop your knees to that side, they've got something to rest on. Or even better is to put a pillow in between your knees, so that it's really comfortable there. And then you can get All covered up, lie back down, readjust your shoulder blades a few times until they feel like they can both relax on the ground. You can open your arms out away from your body. Good. Just find a gentle spinal twist. We'll do a couple moments of settling into this one. If you want to get creative with your legs, maybe it feels good to just let one leg kick out a little bit. Or take your arms up overhead or even just underneath your head. Kind of holding opposite elbows there feels nice. And relax your jaw, all the muscles of the face. You can really let your gaze turn as far opposite of your legs as you'd like, or if that's not too comfortable for your neck, then just keep the head neutral. Sometimes my favorite here is to just rock the back of the head a couple times until you kind of feel where your head wants to fall naturally, and then just let it be there. Just roll it through to the other side, so not quite as long of a hold here. Move everything around and take it the other way. Knees fall. Slide that pillow into support the thighs, or in between the thighs there is my favorite. And then roll the shoulder blades down. Relax your head. always a nice idea, if you can, to make some kind of twist as you're finishing posture before final relaxation in Shavasana. Something about a twist, not just physically in the body, it's a great detoxer, and it helps us feel like, you know, we're getting some release, but also just mentally and symbolically, twists are kind of like the last little thing that you're inclined to do, right? The last little thing that your body oftentimes craves before you unwind everything and relax onto your back. So let's stay with this for just a few more moments. And when you get to that point where everything feels like it's evened out and relaxed, and I'm not trying to rush you, I think that my poor little phone is giving me the signal that my battery's low, which I forgot about this morning, so I just don't want to lose you completely here. When you get to the point where you feel really good about all of that, then any props that you might want to bring in, I'm just going to throw my legs over this kind of big bolster, and then that's that. That's all you got to do. Stretch everything out long, get yourself covered up, get your cozy blankie back on, and just like we did in the very beginning, as you settle into your Shavasana, do it on a big exhale. So just fill all the way up from your toes to the crown of your head. And then let that exhale out your mouth. A nice big sigh. And there you go. Nothing left to do. Still nowhere to be. Just stay right here. Total relaxation. Total surrender. Shavasana. Please continue to rest right there. Don't get up, don't move a muscle, stay as long as you'd like. I'll see you very soon. If you'd like to join me for Ashtanga, I'll be at the river tonight at 6:30 at the Sheridan Memorial. So come on by. Thanks for the support. Thanks for all of you who are making donations and helping us keep the studio alive and well. Been doing some private lessons in there this week, and it's so lovely to be back in that space and to be able to have held on to it for all this time. So if you're interested in coming in and doing any little small group privates with me, just send me a message on Instagram and I'll set you up. Have a great Wednesday. Namaste.